An intersection has no traffic signs or signals. You arrive at the same time as a vehicle to your right. You should A. Speed up and get through the intersection. B. Slow down and yield to the vehicle on your right. C. Drive into the intersection and make the other vehicle stop. D. Honk your horn and drive through the intersection. B. Slow down and yield to the vehicle on your right. When two vehicles arrive to an uncontrolled intersection at the same time, the vehicle on the right has the right of way. Once the vehicle on the right has safely passed through the intersection, the other driver may proceed. A double solid yellow line down the center of a two-lane road indicates A. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are not permitted to pass. B. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. C. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are not permitted to pass. D. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. A. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are not permitted to pass. Yellow lines are used to separate traffic moving in opposite directions. Solid lines indicate that drivers are not permitted to pass. This sign means A. No right turn. B. Keep right. C. No U-turn. D. Left lane must turn left. A. No right turn. Regulation signs regulate traffic speed and movement, displaying rules which drivers must obey. This regulation sign means that right turns are prohibited. This sign means A. U-turns are prohibited. B. U-turns are permitted. C. Winding road ahead. D. Sharp left turn ahead. A. U-turns are prohibited. A regulatory sign displaying a red circle with a red slash through the middle indicates that a specific action is prohibited. U-turns are not permitted where this sign is posted.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
If someone is driving aggressively behind you, you should A. Try to get out of the aggressive driver's way. B. Stare at the driver as he or she is passing you. C. Speed up as he or she is passing you. D. Block the passing lane. A. Try to get out of the aggressive driver's way. If you encounter an aggressive driver, you should make every attempt to get out of their way. You should avoid making eye contact with a hostile driver. Challenging a hostile driver by speeding up may only make them angrier, thereby increasing their danger. When you see this black and yellow sign, it means A. The road to the right is for one-way traffic only. B. That due to upcoming roadwork, there is a detour to the right. C. Slow down because the road ahead changes direction at an extreme angle. D. There is a crossroad to your right. C. Slow down because the road ahead changes direction at an extreme angle. This sign indicates that the road ahead changes direction at an extreme angle, in this case, to the right. Before you reach such an extreme curve, you should slow down as much as you would when making a turn at an intersection. In a school zone, the speed limit is fill in the blank. The posted speed limit. A. 10 miles per hour below. B. 20 miles per hour below. C. 10 miles per hour above. D. 20 miles per hour above. A. 10 miles per hour below. In a school zone, the speed limit is 10 miles per hour below the usual posted speed limit. This restriction is in effect from 45 minutes before the school is in session until the school day begins, as well as from the end of the school day until 45 minutes after the school closes. Drive with extra caution when driving through a school zone at any time. This sign means A. Stop. B. No U-turn. C. Yield. D. Do not enter. D. Do not enter. This sign is placed at the beginning of one-way streets and ramps to indicate that you must not continue driving in your current direction. You want to turn left at an intersection. The light is green but oncoming traffic is heavy. You should A. Use the next intersection. B. Wait at the crosswalk for traffic to clear. C. Wait in the center of the intersection for traffic to clear. D. Take the right-of-way since you have a green light. C. Wait in the center of the intersection for traffic to clear. When making a left turn where there is approaching traffic, you must wait for the approaching traffic to go through before you turn. You may enter the intersection to prepare for your left turn if the light is green and no other vehicle ahead of you plans to make a left turn. When turning left, drivers must yield the right-of-way to A. Other drivers who are already in the intersection. B. Oncoming traffic. C. Pedestrians who are already in the intersection. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. When turning left, drivers must yield the right-of-way to oncoming traffic. Drivers must also always yield the right-of-way to pedestrians, bicyclists, and other drivers who are already in the intersection. This sign means A. Heavy traffic ahead. B. Do not enter. C. Railroad crossing. D. Yield. B. Do not enter. This sign means that it is not safe for drivers to enter the indicated road or driveway from their current direction. If you come across one of these signs, you should immediately turn around and drive a different way. Which of the following lights indicates that you should slow down and proceed with caution at an intersection? A. A flashing yellow light. B. A flashing red light. C. A solid yellow light. D. A solid red light. A. A flashing yellow light. A flashing yellow traffic light at an intersection indicates that drivers must slow down, proceed with caution, and be prepared to stop. This road sign means A. Road construction ahead. B. The road ahead curves left, then right. C. The road ahead curves right, then left. D. Steep grade ahead. C. The road ahead curves right, then left. This sign indicates that the road ahead curves to the right and then to the left. You should slow down to be able to negotiate these curves safely. This road sign indicates A. The maximum safe speed for a residential area. B. The maximum safe speed for an expressway exit. C. The maximum safe speed for an expressway entrance. D. The maximum safe speed for a work zone. B. The maximum safe speed for an expressway exit. This advisory speed sign indicates the maximum safe speed for a highway exit, in this example, 30 miles per hour. consuming which of the following substances may impair your ability to drive safely and may result in an arrest for driving under the influence of intoxicants DUII. A. Beer, wine, and other liquor. B. Controlled substances, such as illegal drugs or prescription medicines. C. Inhalants, such as glue or paint. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. A wide variety of intoxicants can impair your ability to drive. These include all types of alcoholic beverages, illegal drugs, inhalants, and many legal medications, both prescription and over-the-counter. This sign means A. Curve ahead. B. Roadwork ahead. C. Merging traffic. D. No left turn. A. Curve ahead. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign alerts drivers to an upcoming curve in the road. You must yield for emergency vehicles? A. Under no circumstances. B. When you see a flashing red or blue light or hear a siren. C. Only when other vehicles yield. D. None of the above. B. When you see a flashing red or blue light or hear a siren. You must yield the right of way to any emergency vehicle that is using its siren or flashing lights. To help prevent crashes, you should A. Communicate with other road users. B. Ignore other drivers on the road. C. Drive only on side streets and back roads. D. Avoid driving during rush hour. A. Communicate with other road users. Crashes often happen because one driver does something that other road users are not expecting. You should communicate with other motorists, bicyclists, and pedestrians by doing things like signaling when slowing down, stopping, or changing direction. Use your emergency signals or horn when appropriate. You may not park within. Fill in the blank of a crosswalk. A. 10 feet. B. 20 feet. C. 30 feet. D. 40 feet. B. 20 feet. Drivers may not park within 20 feet of a crosswalk at an intersection. Park where it is legal to do so and where drivers coming from both directions can clearly see your vehicle. This road sign means A. School crossing. B. Pedestrian crossing. C. Jogging trail. D. Busy sidewalk. B. Pedestrian crossing. This sign indicates the presence of a pedestrian crossing. You should watch for people entering a crosswalk or crossing your path. Slow down and be prepared to stop. What does a flashing yellow traffic light mean? A. Merging traffic. B. Proceed with caution. C. Pedestrian crossing. D. Come to a full stop. B. Proceed with caution. A flashing yellow traffic light indicates that you should drive with caution. You need to use extra caution when driving near a pedestrian using a white cane because A. He or she is deaf. B. He or she is a police officer. C. He or she is blind. D. He or she has poor balance. A flashing red traffic signal at an intersection has the same requirements as A. A slow sign. B. A yield sign. C. A stop sign. D. An intersection sign. C. A stop sign. When approaching a flashing red signal, you must stop and yield to all traffic that does not have to stop. This road sign means A. Bicycle crossing. B. Stop only if other cars are approaching. C. Bicycle store. D. Soft shoulders. A. Bicycle crossing. This sign, with the arrow below, indicates the location of a bicycle crossing path. Drive with caution around this sign because bicycles likely regularly cross or ride beside traffic in the area. Two solid white lines painted across a traffic lane show the boundaries of a crosswalk. As a driver, you should know that A. Motor vehicles have the right-of-way over pedestrians in crosswalks. B. When pedestrians are in crosswalks, they should be given the right-of-way. C. No one has the right-of-way in a crosswalk. D. Pedestrians are responsible to stay out of the way of all traffic. B. When pedestrians are in crosswalks, they should be given the right-of-way. Crosswalk lines show pedestrians where to safely cross a road or street. Crosswalks may be marked by horizontal lines, vertical lines, or a combination of the two. You must always stop for pedestrians who are in a crosswalk. This sign means A. Steep downgrade. B. Crossroad ahead. C. No right turn. D. Narrow bridge. A. Steep downgrade. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers about an upcoming steep hill. They should adjust their speed accordingly to avoid brake damage or collision. Seat belts are most effective when they are worn by A. The person driving the car. B. Passengers when they are on a long drive. C. All occupants of a car being driven on an expressway. D. All occupants of a car every time the car is driven. D. All occupants of a car every time the car is driven. When you drive, make sure each person in your vehicle wears a seat belt. In the event of a crash, a person without a seat belt becomes a flying object and a danger to each person in the vehicle. Distracted driving may be caused by A. Eating, drinking, or smoking. B. Talking or texting on a cellular phone. C. Changing a radio station or CD. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. It is estimated that drivers make 200 decisions for every mile traveled, making it vital that drivers focus their full attention on the task of driving. Performing any additional task can create a dangerous distraction. To prepare for anything coming up on the road ahead, you should A. Continually scan the entire road and all roadsides. B. Stare straight ahead at all times. C. Drive with your left foot resting lightly on the brake pedal. D. Maintain focus toward the middle of the road. A. Continually scan the entire road and all roadsides. Your ability to handle dangerous traffic situations depends largely on searching for and identifying problems before meeting them. Looking far ahead of your vehicle does not mean you should simply stare at the center of the road. You need to continually scan the entire road, including the sides of the road. Two solid yellow lines on the pavement mean A. Passing is allowed for drivers from both directions. B. Passing is not allowed. C. Passing is allowed if you are at the top a hill. D. Passing is allowed during daylight only. B. Passing is not allowed. Yellow lines tell you that the traffic on the other side of the lines is moving in the opposite direction. You should never cross two solid yellow lines to pass from either direction. What is the meaning of this sign? A. The traffic signal ahead is displaying a red light. B. The traffic signal ahead is broken. C. The traffic signal ahead is displaying a green light. D. There is a traffic signal ahead. D. There is a traffic signal ahead. This sign indicates that there is a traffic signal at the intersection ahead. When approaching a flashing yellow light, drivers should A. Increase their speed. B. Come to a complete stop. C. Turn on their headlights. D. Slow down and proceed with caution. D. Slow down and proceed with caution. A flashing yellow light warns of a hazard. Slow down and proceed with caution. Fog can greatly reduce the visibility of other vehicles, pedestrians, and traffic signals. When driving in fog, you should A. Drive cautiously and reduce your speed. B. Not use your high beam headlights. C. Use low beam headlights to better illuminate the road and objects. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Fog can greatly reduce your ability to see other vehicles, pedestrians, and traffic signals. When driving in fog, drive cautiously and at reduced speeds. Do not use high beam headlights. Low beams better illuminate the road and objects ahead in foggy conditions. You want to back out of your driveway. You see children playing nearby. Before you start to move your car, you should A. Rev your engine to warn the children that you are moving. B. Sound your horn so the children will hear you. C. Walk to the back of the car to be sure the way is clear. D. Tell the children to stay away from the driveway. C. Walk to the back of the car to be sure the way is clear. When you back up a vehicle, look through your back window for pedestrians and other obstacles. Do not rely only on your mirrors, especially when children are near. Before you back into or out of a driveway, get out of the vehicle and check behind your vehicle. A single broken yellow line down the center of a two-lane road indicates A. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are not permitted to pass. B. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. C. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are not permitted to pass. D. Lanes are moving in the same direction and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. B. Lanes are moving in opposite directions and drivers are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. Yellow lines are used to separate traffic moving in opposite directions. Dashed lines indicate that drivers directly next to the line are permitted to pass when it is safe to do so. Emergency vehicles. A. Have the right-of-way when using sirens, horns, and/or flashing lights. B. May use a loudspeaker to give instructions. C. May follow each other. D. All of the above. This road sign means A. A steep grade is ahead. B. You must turn left ahead. C. Do not enter. D. A four-way intersection is ahead. D. A four-way intersection is ahead. This sign warns that a four-way intersection is ahead. When parking uphill on a hill or incline with a curb. A. Turn your front wheels sharply toward the curb. B. Turn your front wheels slightly to the right. C. Turn your front wheels sharply away from the curb. D. Keep your front wheels straight. C. Turn your front wheels sharply away from the curb. To keep your vehicle from rolling into traffic when parked facing uphill, turn your front wheels sharply away from the curb. If you are parking uphill on a street that has no curb, turn the wheels sharply toward the edge of the road. Look over your shoulder to check your blind spot when A. Pulling toward or away from a curb. B. Turning left or right. C. Changing lanes. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Look over your shoulder to check your blind spot every time you want to change your vehicle's position. If you are turning, changing lanes, or pulling toward or away from a curb, you should check your blind spots. You are driving in the left lane and want to move into the right lane. You should A. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over your left shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. B. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over your right shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. C. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over both shoulders for other vehicles before changing lanes. D. Check your mirrors, signal, and change lanes. B. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over your right shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. When changing lanes, you should check your vehicle's blind spots by looking over your shoulder in the direction that you want to move. Always check your mirrors and turn on your directional signal before beginning a lane change.